Glad you are all here. My camera a little bit. There we go. Yep, there's another. If you guys know how to, or if y'all know how to, and you can change your display name to your name, and if there's multiple people on the screen and you can fit all of your names, you can do that, or you can put your troop if you're here with you're participating with your troop. And I am going to go ahead and throw the attendance question into the chat so that if anybody wants to go ahead and start writing out their answer, you can do that. We've got a lot of people coming into the Zoom today, so it'll take a little while for us all to get in here. And if you can't figure out how to change your name, you can message me. This is my name. You can message me and tell me what name you would like it changed to, and then I can change it for you. Okay. Let's see. In 23, we should have, we're about halfway there. Other than that, make sure you have water, make sure you've gone to the bathroom. Get ready to hang out. Oh, I still have okay. Oh, let me. Lots more people coming in. If you are just joining us, we do have the attendance question is going to be going into the chat right here in a second. So do start to answer that, and I'll keep, as more people come in, you can't see chats that are posted previously when you were not in the room, so I will keep reposting the attendance question until about 5:05 when we get started. And then if you can change your display name to your name, or if you're with your troop, change it to your troop number. And if you need me to change your name because you don't know how, and I did see one person sent it to me, you can do that and I will change your name for you. Excellent. I made hot water and I put a tea bag in my teacup, and then I didn't pour the hot water into my cup. This is my hydration drink for our program. Everybody should stay hydrated. Make sure you have something to drink, water or juice or tea. No coffee though. Too late in the day for coffee. Excellent. I just let, oh, there's still more people. They just don't stop coming, which is a good thing. Ooh, got people from Kentucky, West Virginia. Nice. California. I know I saw a lot of California people on the registration. Florida. Very cool. And then if you are just joining us, I'm going to repost the attendance question so that you can answer. Very nice. Camden is back. Hi, Camden.
Hi.
It's good to see you again. Well, see you.
You too.
Excellent. So let's see, we don't have anybody in the waiting room right now. We've got quite a good number of our people here. Excellent. All right. So while you guys are still answering the question, and no rush, just take your time answering the question. If you can't remember parts of the Girl Scout law, you can always look it up. And we are going to say the promise here in a moment. Do I have somebody who wants to volunteer to lead us all in the promise when we say it together? I saw Illuminata's hand first, okay? So when we're ready, I will let you know, okay, Illuminata? Awesome. So I'm going to go over our ground rules, which are our norms, really quick. So just a reminder to everybody that we want to be respectful to whoever is speaking. So that's going to be myself, and that's also going to be Ranger Mary, who's on my left. I don't know where she is for y'all, but she's over here on my left. And also, we will do the same for y'all. So when you guys want to ask a question out loud, we will be respectful to you as well. Speak kindly to everybody, and that means in the chat and also when we are speaking out loud. If you are not speaking and you're asking a question, make sure to keep yourself on mute. That way, if there's any sort of background noise, and you guys might hear some background noise behind me, that'll help with the recording, actually, because the recording is only going to show the person's video who is talking. So if I'm talking and then somebody else starts talking over me, it's going to show them and whatever they're doing in the background up their video screen. You all are welcome to have your video turned off if you would like to. We do ask, you know, just to make sure, like, I'm going to be checking registration to make sure that the people who are here are the people who are supposed to be here. If you have a question, we would ask that for today, we would like you to put your question in the chat box, and that way we can get to the questions kind of nearer to the end. And we'll also open up a time for you guys to raise your hand and ask your questions out loud. But for the most part, write your questions into the chat box. And then that way, while Mary is presenting, I can manage the chat box. And if there's something that I'm doing and you guys need something from her, you can talk to Mary in there as well. If you guys are chatting in the chat box, it has to be related to the program. That's just because there are so many of us who are here, and it's really hard to go find things in the chat box, like the questions that we're asking you to put in there, if there's a bunch of kind of like gibberish or like people sending a whole bunch of emojis, so please don't do that. We want to just make sure we're only talking about the program, or we're only asking questions. We do want to hear from you, so if you don't feel afraid to ask any sort of question that you guys might have about what we're talking about, or what's coming up in the program, or what's next, and things like that. We want to know what your questions are, because they're probably questions that we don't have, because we feel, you know, like we think we know what we're talking about, but maybe you guys want to know more, and what we're saying doesn't make sense. So we need to know if you guys are following along, or if we're going too fast. So you can let us know, like, hey, can you repeat that? Or hey, can you please slow down? Keep an open mind. We always want to keep an open mind and learn new things. The whole great thing about being in Girl Scouts is that we're here to learn something new and take that information and use it to help other people. And then, of course, always, always, always be patient with other people and their internet and their computers. I know if you guys were here with me for other programs or with camp this summer, I freeze occasionally. So it's okay if I freeze or if somebody else freezes. We give them a couple of seconds, we wait, and otherwise, you know, we can keep continuing on with the program. It's not a big deal. And so you can just leave all of the technical stuff to me. I will make sure that we're working everything out tech-wise. We are recording this program, so if you have to leave early, we're going to post it to our YouTube, probably in about a day or two. And then that way you guys can review it if you want to, or if you just want to watch it again, or if you want to share it with your troop and your troop can watch it and you guys can earn the badge that way, or the patch, sorry, the patch that way. And I think that's really it for our group norms. So we are going to go ahead and start with the Girl Scout promise. And so Illuminata is going to lead us. I lost her. There she is. So everybody can get ready. And whenever you're ready, Illuminata, take it away.
Wait, what is the first part of it? I forgot.
On my honor.
On my honor, I will try to serve God and to help people at all times and to live by the Girl Scout law.
Excellent. Thank you. And so we're not going to do the law all together today, because we did include it in our chat question. But so I'll just do a quick little introduction of myself, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass on over to Mary. And then while Mary is talking, I'm going to check the chat log and see if we had any questions or if there's anything I need to change right off the bat. So my name is Charlie, and I am the camp director and the program manager for the Outdoors Pillar for the Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trails. Welcome to all of our New Mexico girls and everybody from out of state. We're really, really excited that you're here with us right now. And today we're going to be earning our 19th Amendment program patch, which is a partnership between the Girl Scouts of the United States of America and the National Park Services. And you can see Ranger Mary is holding one up over there. They're really, really cute. It is a limited edition patch, but we're going to be going through all the things that you need to learn today to get the patch. And we will have a challenge for you at the end to do with your suffrage cap, which you are going to create with us today. And you can see it, Mary made sure I was looking at hers, and one of them's even wearing like a little hat like she's wearing. And I was like, that's the best thing ever. Yeah, I mean, I'm really just here to bring the Girl Scouts in, and Mary is gonna provide some really, really amazing content for everybody tonight. I'm just really excited. So go ahead, Mary, it's all yours now.
Hi everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, so I'm a park ranger here at Fort Union National Monument in Watrous, New Mexico. And I've been here for about 6 months, and I really, really like being a park ranger. It's really fun, and I'm really excited to do this program today. So first of all, what is a park ranger and what do we do? So I'm gonna share my screen here for a second. Let me get that up for you. All right, so here are some of the more famous national parks in the national park system. So we have Yellowstone in Wyoming and a little bit Idaho and Montana on the top left side. Then we go over to Yosemite National Park in California, Sequoia National Park also in California, and Saguaro National Park in Arizona. And why did I choose to show you guys these parks? So I've actually worked at 3 of these parks. I've worked at Yosemite, Sequoia, and Saguaro. Has anybody ever been to any of those parks? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and you guys can type into the chat which of those parks that you've been to. I've been to Saguaro National Park.
All right, so the national parks preserve really, really large areas of something cool. So it could be something in nature. Usually it's nature related. It's all these parks that are up on the screen right now. They're all have some natural wonders. So Yellowstone has Old Faithful. Yosemite has Half Dome, a lot of really cool rock formations and lots of waterfalls. Sequoia has the largest trees in the world, the giant sequoia trees. And Saguaro has the largest cactuses in the world, the saguaro cactuses. So those are the national parks. Right now I work at a national monument. So what's a national monument? So national monuments tend to be a little bit smaller. They preserve maybe 1 or 2 major things. They can be historical, they can be natural, they can be cultural, they can be, significant to one group of people. But they have some sort of significance that people thought was important enough to protect them. So you can see some national monuments up on the screen right now. So we have the Belmont Paul House, which I started with because that's one of the only national monuments here in the US that actually is specifically dedicated to the women's suffrage fight, and that's in Washington, D.C. We also have Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument, that's in Arizona. It protects this really cool species of cactus. They look pretty similar to saguaros, but they're different species. Then we have Chiricahua National Monument in Arizona, which preserves these really, really cool rock formations. They look like, like something out of like a movie or something out of like outer space. They're really cool rocks. Then we have, I'm sure you guys have seen this statue before, the Statue of Liberty. That's a national monument too. And then we have Devil's Tower in Wyoming, which is a really cool old volcano that has really cool rock formations formed by an old volcano. And then we have Fort McHenry in Maryland, a historic site that has a lot of significance. It was where the battle there inspired our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see? You know that one, that national anthem. And the bottom left corner, we have Canyon de Chelly in Arizona. This is a really important Native American site. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you is where I work, which is at Fort Union here in New Mexico. So bottom right corner, that's Fort Union. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm going to show you a few more pictures of Fort Union. So here's an aerial view showing one of the summer storms that we get a lot. So it looks like that most every afternoon here. And so you can see it's made of adobe. In the 1860s is when it was built. So it's actually the largest collection of adobe buildings in the Southwest that still exists. So that's why we protected it here. There's a lot of historical significance, a lot of military significance, and as we'll learn, a lot of significance for all kinds of people as well. Here's some of the animals we have. These are pronghorns, otherwise known as antelope. This was back in the winter when it was all snowy. There's male and a female. They're hanging out, looking for food. And here's a little picture that I took of our pronghorns. They're reading the sign. It says, what does the sign say? I don't know, I can't read, I'm a pronghorn. So that's some of the stuff we have here. We got cool buildings, we got ruins, we got adobe, we got pronghorns, we got lots of rabbits and lots of birds. Lots of cool stuff here at Fort Union. And now I'm gonna stop my screen sharing just for a second and go ask you guys a question. So I want in the chat, I want you to say, have you ever been to a national park or a national monument? If you've been to one of the ones that I showed you, say which one. If not, say which ones that you've been to, just like in general.
Yellowstone.
So that is in the chat. Maybe a few minutes to answer that question.
Yellowstone. I've been to Yellowstone. Pretty cool.
Been to the Statue of Liberty. Yes, a lot. Yes, Grand Canyon, that's a good one.
A lot. I really can't say how many. I can show you my Junior Ranger vest, but I can't really tell you how many. But
That's awesome. I love Junior Rangers.
I have.
Oh, you've been to Fort Union.
What was it? Silver Award? No, Bronze Award. Sorry, I did it. I went to Petroglyph National Monument and did it on that.
Cool. Very cool. A lot of national parks in the chat here. A lot of different places around the country. Cool. Ooh, Castillo de San Marcos. I love that one. Yellowstone, Yosemite. Hi there.
I put them on a hat.
Oh, cool. Which ones do you have on your hat?
That's a lot. Very nice.
That's a lot. Very impressive.
Got Great Smoky Mountains. Perry's Victory. That's cool. Fort Matanzas. A lot of ones that I cannot pronounce, to be honest. I think some of them.
Same.
Chaco. I've been to Chaco. Oh, Mammoth Cave. Super cool. Love Mammoth Cave. We've actually got a lot from Great Smoker that have been to Great Smoky Mountain. Oh, Samantha has a little bucket full of her patches and pins. Nice. Cool. It looks like a lot of people have been to a lot of different ones. That's awesome. Cow pins.
Yeah, definitely. I even saw a couple people have been to Fort Union. So that's awesome, guys.
I'll be honest, I have not been to Fort Union yet. I will go.
You gotta come though. You gotta come now.
And then if anybody's interested, I found this website. Well, I didn't find it. I had it on hand. You can view and look and see by state all of the different national parks or in National Park Service places in your state. And that includes the monuments and the parks and also other things that are owned and governed by National Park Service. There's a lot.
There's over 419 places that the National Park Service runs. So that's a whole lot of exploring to do.
Yeah.
And there's actually, 62 national parks and there's 84 national monuments. So actually a lot more national monuments than national parks. So once you're done with the national parks, you explore all the national monuments and then move on to the national preserves, national historical parks, and the list goes on and on and on and on.
Are there like also
All
like
right,
protected
so
trails,
here's the-
like wildlife trails?
Yeah, there's like trails, there's seashores, there's like rivers, there's everything.
Very
There's a
cool.
whole lot of stuff out there. All right, so you guys have been to a lot of cool places, but we're here because of the 19th Amendment. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how it relates to here in New Mexico. Now, I know a lot of you guys aren't from New Mexico, but you can definitely, New Mexico is a pretty interesting story that like relates to a lot of other places here in the country. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So what was the 19th Amendment? So the 19th Amendment was the amendment to the U.S. Constitution, so the law of our land, that established that women have the right to vote as well. So before that, women were not allowed to vote in federal elections. In certain states, they already had the right to vote, but not nationwide. So the 19th Amendment provided that women have the constitutional right to vote in all federal elections. Now, although it was a great victory for a lot of women, not every woman had the right to vote after that. There were still a lot of obstacles that people faced trying to vote here in this country. The 19th Amendment removed a lot of those obstacles, but not all of them. So it would be several more decades before everybody in the whole country had that right to vote legally. For example, Native Americans in New Mexico didn't have the right to vote until the 1940s because a lot of them lived on reservations and they weren't considered full citizens. So even after the 19th Amendment, there were still a lot of challenges to overcome for people trying to win the right to vote. So why did it take so long for women to win the right to vote? There was a lot of people who didn't think that women should be involved in politics. They thought that it would that women's place was the home and not in politics. And they thought that it would be a really bad influence on the family because women's real job was to take care of the kids and take care of the home, and if they got involved in other things, and that they would be distracted from all of that. So that was the reason why a lot of people opposed women's right to vote. But there are a lot of people who realized that that was wrong and stood up to that sort of mindset, and eventually were able to win the right to vote for women as well. I'm going to introduce you to one of these women who was actually from New Mexico. So I'm going to share my screen again here. So the woman here on the left is named Nina Otero Warren, and she is from New Mexico. She was born on a hacienda, so it's like a big ranch kind of near Santa Fe in 1881. And she came from a really prominent family, and she got introduced to a lot of really important people in Santa Fe, a lot of politicians and people that could be influenced. So she became an advocate for women's suffrage. And she noticed that there was a problem in a lot of the suffrage campaigns in the country at that point in time. A lot of the suffragists were from the East, so New York and places like that, and they all spoke English. And they had all their publications in English as well. But a lot of people in New Mexico were bilingual or native Spanish speakers, so they didn't speak English. So when they saw all this stuff that was just in English, they couldn't understand it, they couldn't read it. So they didn't really relate to them. They couldn't really know exactly what it said because it didn't speak the language. So Nina Otero Warren, she says, hey, we need to make sure to publish all of our stuff in English and Spanish. So why do you guys think it was important to publish things both in English and Spanish? Write it in the chat why you think it was important. So more people could be informed. It's good.
Nice.
That's a good answer. So everyone can understand it and fight back. That's a good
I
answer
like
too.
that answer.
Yes. So everyone can participate. Very good. Very good. So others can be informed. Definitely. So more people can vote. Yep. I think Evie has her hand raised.
Yeah.
I think that was an accident.
I couldn't hear you for a lot of the time. It dropped out for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'll try to make sure that I speak more clearly. Did anybody else have trouble hearing?
No.
Do you know what it was, the last thing that you heard, Edie?
Well, I think the last thing I heard was how that they should print everything in English and Spanish.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty much pretty much sums it up. So I don't think you missed too much. That's good.
We had some good answers. A lot of them were so people can be informed, so people can vote, so that people can get involved. We have someone who said, so everyone had a mutual understanding or one isn't planning against another so they can work together. So that people who could read both English or Spanish could understand. So that people wouldn't feel left out. Love that. So that it was more fair. And Scarlett made a really good point because Spanish and English are the two main languages in New Mexico.
Definitely, yeah. For sure. All right, so you got some really, really good answers, guys. Good job. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about women here at our site, Fort Union. So Fort Union was a fort between 1851 and 1891, so about 40 years. This was during the 19th century. So this was before the 19th Amendment, before women got the right to vote in 1920. But there's a lot of things going on here that contributed to sort of, having more freedom for women. And a lot of them were here as well. So even though we are a military site, we were a fort. It's not necessarily a site that you think of automatically when you think of women or women's rights. But if you look pretty much anywhere at any site, you'll always find a women's story. All of our history is women's history. Even if it's not apparent right away, if you look for it, you'll find it. And that's what I'm going to kind of show you here at Fort Union. A little bit about some of the women that were here and kind of what they did. So before we go any deeper, I want to ask you guys, what kinds of chores do you have at your house, and which one is your least favorite? So write that in the chat. What kind of chores do you have, and which ones do you like the least? I hate cleaning the bathroom too.
Oh yeah, picking up dog poop. But very necessary.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. I hate that. I hate doing the dishes too. Whoever said dishes, I totally agree with you. Yeah, doing the dishes, yeah.
My favorite chore is feeding the dogs because then it lets me show them how much I love them.
Aw. I like feeding my dogs too. So I try to feed them separately because they don't get along, so I have to take it to a different room.
Ours all have their little place where they know that they have to go, and they have little mat where their food bowl goes. Because we have four large dogs.
Unloading dishwasher, cleaning the kitchen. That's annoying too. All of them. Same. Really. All right. So a lot of you are saying all kinds of different things. So I'm going to tell you about laundry. So who hates doing laundry specifically? I know I don't like it too much. But so imagine that. So how do we do laundry today? So we have a washing machine, right? Most of us have washing machines, probably dryers. All you gotta do is throw the clothes in the washing machine, then take them out an hour later, put them in the dryer, then take them out of the dryer and fold them up. Well, I guess the folding part is optional, at least if you're me. I really don't like folding laundry, but theoretically it's part of the laundry process. But imagine that you have none of those things. Imagine that you don't have a washing machine or a dryer or anything like that. You have to do everything by hand. And that's kind of what it was like to be a laundress here at Fort Union. So why did they need laundresses? So there were hundreds of soldiers here, and they were always outside doing work. They were digging holes, they were like building things, they were sweating everywhere. It probably smelled really, really gross. And their uniforms had to be clean. If their uniforms weren't clean, they got into trouble. So laundresses were really, really important for the soldiers. So imagine if you were a soldier who, didn't have access to a laundress. Like Eddie Matthews was a private, so the lowest ranking soldier in the Army. And one day he decided that he was getting really tired of paying the laundress. He was like, I can do it myself. It can't be that hard. So he went and did it himself. And after just one day of doing clothes, this is what he said: "My back aches, my arms and hands are sore, and I feel generally fatigued." So he was having a really hard time. He had a really hard time doing his laundry, and that was just, one person. So imagine doing laundry for over 19 people. It took, and not having a washing machine or a dryer. So all you had was this big bucket here, and you had one of these washboards. And this is your washing machine. And then what do when you want to scrub the clothes? It's you. You are the washing machine. You got to scrub it, and it takes a really long time. And it's really, really tiring. It's really, really tiring. And imagine doing that for a whole week at a time for over 19 sets of clothes. So it's really, really hard. And you have to make your own soap. You can't just go out to the store and get soap. You got to make your own. And water just doesn't get warm by itself. You got to heat up your water. And how do you heat up your water? You got to make a fire. So you got to chop your own firewood. So you got to chop your own firewood, make your own fire, heat your own water, gather it yourself, and then do everything by hand. So it was really, really difficult. And all the soldiers who thought they could get away without paying the laundress soon found themselves that they were sorely, sorely mistaken, just like poor Eddie Matthews. So laundresses are really, really important to the functioning of the fort and making sure that everyone smelled nice and clean. Because this is a time you didn't just shower every day. It was quite a process to take a bath too. So everyone was all stinky all the time. So washing clothes was really important. And it was really, really skilled. Like it took a lot of skill to do the laundry. You couldn't just, throw it in the nearest washing machine. You had to actually know what you were doing. So I'm gonna share my screen again here.
And you guys can just imagine that dealing with all those clothes, those women were super strong. They had muscles for days.
They had to be like really, really ripped. Like they had to just like be so strong.
You had to carry everything back and forth, and you had to lug your own water. Honestly, that's probably a really good workout. Maybe we can bring that back.
All right, so here, hold on. So here is, so on the right here, we have a picture of the only photo that we have of a laundress here at Fort Union. Her name was Bridget Clunan. She was an immigrant from Ireland. So a lot of these women were immigrants from different places. So a lot of immigrants from Germany, Ireland, Eastern Europe, places like that. Also a lot of native New Mexican women. So a lot of Hispanic women from the local area were also laundresses. This is the only picture we have of a laundress. In contrast, I'll show you all the pictures that we have of the wives of the officers. So these are all the pictures we have, and we also have more. But I want to ask you guys something. Why do you think we only have one picture of a laundress when we have so many pictures of the officers' wives? Write in the chat why you think that is. I'll remind you that they didn't have phones back then. You can just take a picture right on your phone. It took a long time to take a picture back then. Yeah, status and money, that's definitely a good answer. Because at that time they had stations of power. That's a really good answer. They're richer, yeah, definitely. It costs a lot of money to have your picture taken back then. Yeah, photos were expensive. If you had money and power, you can get a picture. Very good answers. All right. Really good answers, guys. Good job. Officers' wives, yep, you could afford it for sure. And laundress were busy working, definitely. Took a lot of time to go and get your picture taken, especially when there's like no photographers in the area. Because I didn't think they were as important. Definitely there was like that perception that laundresses weren't as important, which is not true, obviously. We know that's not true because, you know, everything would just fall apart if all your clothes were dirty all the time. All right, so great answers, guys. So let's do another little activity here. So I'm going to show you guys another picture. Let's see here. All right, so this is a picture called The Influence of Women, and this was drawn during the Civil War, and it shows different things that were considered to be the roles of women in society at that point in time. So I want you to look at this picture and tell me what you see women doing in this picture. Write it in the chat. So you got sewing, caring for the men, caring for sick people. Nursing, yep, they were nurses. Yeah, we got laundry in there. Yep, being nuns, seamstresses, secretary. The writing, yep. Taking care of the men, that's a common theme. Mending clothes. Being inside. They're working, definitely, working really hard. All right, so we got some good answers on this. So these were considered sort of like the traditional roles for women during the Civil War. But now I'm going to introduce you to a person who kind of defied all those expectations of what a woman should do or what a woman should be at this time. So this person was Kathy Williams, and I'm going to show you a picture of Kathy Williams here in a second. Let's see. All right. All right, so this is actually a painting that I did of Kathy Williams. Like I said, there's, for the reasons that we talked about earlier, there's no actual photograph of Kathy Williams that exists for like all the factors that we mentioned. So this is sort of an artistic rendition of Kathy. So Kathy Williams was born enslaved in the 1840s. And when they were young, Kathy Williams went to work as a cook and a laundress for the Union Army. So those are considered traditional roles for women at this time. So cook, laundress. But then after the Civil War, Kathy Williams enlisted in the Army under the name of William Cathy. So William Cathy was a private in the Union Army, and nobody knew that there were once Kathy Williams. And so they traveled with the Army throughout the Southwest, throughout New Mexico. But Kathy Williams was pretty sick a lot of the time. Nowadays, they think that Kathy had diabetes that was untreated. Nowadays, we can treat it really well, but back in those days, they couldn't treat illnesses like that as well. So Kathy went most of her life without being able to treat it. So as a result, Kathy was always in the hospital. And one time when Kathy was in the hospital, they discovered that Kathy was actually, well, William Kathy was actually Kathy Williams. So after this, then Kathy Williams went back to, being a cook and a laundress. So for a brief time, Kathy Williams sort of like defied those gender expectations of what a woman and a Black woman should be. So I didn't mention, so she was a Buffalo Soldier. So Buffalo Soldier was, after the Civil War, regiments of African-American soldiers that fought in the West. So the unit that Kathy Williams, William Kathy belonged to was a Buffalo Soldier unit. So not only did Kathy Williams break gender stereotypes, she also broke racial stereotypes by becoming a soldier in a time period where, recently African Americans had been enslaved. So it was a really, Kathy Williams was a person who defied both of those expectations. During the Civil War, there were a lot of gender norms. So they expected women to sort of stay inside, take care of men, cook, clean, that kind of stuff. But there are still some gender norms in society today. So in the chat, I want you to think about some gender norms that still exist in our society today. So write those in the chat.
Did you
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sorry? Yeah.
Did you actually paint that?
Yeah, I did.
That's good.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
How much do you think the photos were back then?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question.
What was the year?
Sorry, what was that?
I was like, while you're answering, if you give me what the year was, I can look it up too.
It was like the 1800s.
Okay.
Like the Civil War era, like 1860s. Let's see. So we got less women politicians, teachers, nurses, daycare workers. Yeah, that's considered like that's a kind of gendered careers. Women breaking barriers to become military leaders, definitely. Yeah, pink and green and blue as well are kind of considered gendered colors today. Cowboys and cowgirls. Yes, forgot your name in the purple.
Illuminata. You can also just call her Nyko. That was her camp name this summer.
I know when the 19th Amendment was passed. It was passed
what year?
in the 1920s.
Right, exactly. And so yeah, it's 100 years ago this year.
And also, how I know is because I have an American Girl doll, and it comes with, and it shows you a picture of suffrages.
That is awesome. That is an awesome American Girl doll.
And it comes with stuff too, like this.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
They're made for your American Girl doll.
That is awesome.
A long time ago, well, actually, it was like in March, I entered a competition, and it was like a poster competition for the 19th Amendment because it was 100 years ago exactly. They had to postpone it, so it's like in like January. It's really far away now because they had to postpone it.
Nice.
Man, yeah, a lot of things got postponed this year. It's kind of sucks.
That's exciting though that it's still gonna happen.
Yeah. What we got going on here? Okay, dinosaur for boys. I know that's generally a stereotype, which sucks because dinosaurs are so cool. Everyone
I love
should
dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs. I think dinosaurs are super awesome.
Too. The dinosaur. I love to go to the museum and stare at her. I just don't like that they edited that they have the screen, so a projectile, so it projects the image, making to look like she's starting to come to life, and then records what they think a dinosaur sounds like. So it's just like to scare me the first time, but now doesn't.
Nice. We had some people
Yeah,
saying
definitely.
we have a chance for female vice presidents, which is super cool. And also that men sometimes still think that women can't do outdoor chores, which is not true. We are very strong still.
That's definitely not true. Women can do anything, any chores, except for dishes. I don't know. I can't do dishes. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think the stereotype with like colors, like why is that? Like, anyone can like any color. Like, where did that come from?
I love blue.
I like turquoise too. That's my favorite color, turquoise. Pterodactyls. Pterodactyls are really cool. So are triceratops.
Yeah, like my favorite color is orange, which is generally not necessarily a feminine color, but it's great. Who doesn't love neon orange?
I love neon orange.
Nice.
You really show up in a fog. It's very useful.
Maybe it's because I like working in the outdoors that I like neon orange so much. Before we do continue on to what we're learning about with the park, I am going to just do a time check right now and let everybody know that we do have 15 minutes left. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to what you're supposed to be doing with your suffrage cat, so you can start working on that for the rest of the program. We're not going to like sit in silence and all work on it together, but you can work on it while we finish talking about the park, national park, and the 19th Amendment. And so what you have is you have your little outline of the suffrage cat. And the reason that we're doing this activity is because suffragettes, which are the people who went around talking about the suffragist movement to get voting rights for women, they took on the cat as their mascot, so they can go from town to town and people could identify them by their mascot, which was the cat. And so what everybody is going to do is you're going to design and color your cat however you want. Make sure it has some eyes. Make sure you give it a nice little face. If you want to, you can give it a green sash, which was another symbol of the suffragist movement, which is like a green sash, kind of like how we wear the red ones for the flag ceremony. And then the most important part about this is what you're going to do with your cat when you're done. And so our challenge for you guys after this program, this is not a requirement to get the patch, it's just a really fun thing, is you're going to take your cat that you designed and you can cut it out if you want to and put it on a stick, or you can leave it on the page. You can put it in a page protector to keep it safe, or laminate it. And you're going to go and you're going to take it to a national park or a national monument. You're going to go to where the sign is for the park or the monument, and you're going to take a picture with you and your suffrage cat at the national park or the national monument, and then you're going to send it to us so that we can show all of the amazing places that everybody went with their cats, which is so cool. And so you guys can start working on that right now if you would like to, and you can color it and design it, you can paint it, you can put googly eyes on it, however you want to decorate it. And then just remember that the important part is where you're going to take your new friend, and you can give it a name too, when you're done. And so I'll give it back to you, Mary.
Yeah, my suffrage cat is a ranger kitty, like me. I'm a ranger, and I got like a gray shirt, like I have my gray shirt on, and I got green pants and my little ranger hat here. Oh, do you want to know a cool fact about the ranger hat and the belt? So if you look really closely at the ranger hat, I don't know if you can see it on here, but it has like a little pattern on it. Can anybody tell what the pattern is on there? Like looks like little pine cones. So those pine cones are actually sequoia cones, and it comes from the fact that one of the earliest national parks, or two of the earliest national parks, were Sequoia National Park and Yosemite National Park, which both have sequoias in them. So that's why every single park ranger around the whole country, no matter where you are, if you're in New York, if you're in Texas, if you're in Michigan, everybody has sequoias on their hat and on their belt as well. So I got my sequoia belt too.
I have a question.
That's a cool fact about park rangers. What is it? What's your question?
Well, I was going to say, why is so I know why it's the sequoia pine cone, but why the buffalo? Do you know? Because I know that the buffalo is like a big.
Oh, so it's another animal that's like really associated with like the buffalo. So I got my buffalo here. It's by a mountain. It's like eating some grass. There's a tree there. It might be a sequoia. I'm not sure. It could be just a general pine. But yeah, buffaloes are associated with like Yellowstone too, and just kind of like wild areas, and the West, which a lot of national parks were in first. So that's kind of like a little about the symbolism of my uniform. A little bit of a tangent here, and then my coworker here made a Caddy Williams after our friend Kathy Williams. Buffalo soldier extraordinaire. So you can do anything with your suffrage cat. It's really fun. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have on my end here. Does anybody have any questions for me about anything that I've talked about?
Right. Christabel, I saw your hand, so go ahead and go first. And anybody else who wants to raise their hand, I'll start taking down a list to go in order.
It's kind of hard to hear.
Okay,
Can you
did
repeat
you?
your question, Christabel? I didn't quite hear you.
It's kind of hard to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to speak a little bit louder, okay?
It's kind of hard to hear.
That's okay. Your volume might be turned down, Christabel. Is anybody else having problems hearing us? No? Okay. So hopefully it's just the sound on your computer and we can get that fixed real quick. Does anybody else have questions that they would like to ask to Mary about the state parks, about the 19th Amendment, about specifically Fort Union, about what she does for her job, her favorite part, anything like that? Go ahead. Oh, no, those are legs. That's not a hand. Go ahead, Illuminata.
What is your favorite part being a ranger?
My favorite park? So my favorite park that I've worked at is Sequoia, because it has the biggest trees in the world, and it's really, really cool. Yeah, there's trees that are, 20 people can hold hands around the tree and it's still can't fit all the way around it. They're really, really big. So I think I would have to say Sequoia. I see somebody asked the question, do some women still not have the right to vote? And yes, unfortunately, yes. So in just the US, there are people who, it's really hard to find access to vote in some places, in a lot of rural areas, and a lot of places have laws that make it hard for people to vote. So people are working to correct that. And then around the world, there's a lot of countries where people can't vote at all. So yeah, a lot of women around the world, and even here in this country, still don't have the right to vote. Yeah. And do you need a college degree to be a park ranger? Not necessarily, but I do. A lot of people do. It can be anything. I have degrees in history and political science, and I know people who have degrees in geology, science, English, pretty much anything really. It doesn't really matter what you have a degree in, as long as you're passionate about the parks and about the outdoors and history or whatever your park is about. As long as you have that passion, then it doesn't really matter. When you grow up, you're gonna be a park ranger. Awesome, awesome.
And then my brain stopped working for a second. Sorry, Cecilia, you had your hand up, but I lost her. Do you want to ask your question, Cecilia, or Cece? Her video is blank. Give her a second. Then we'll go to Illuminata, and Cece will come back to you.
What is your favorite thing? Like, what is your favorite part of your job? Like, what is your favorite part of it?
My favorite part of my job is doing stuff like this. I love talking to people and I love teaching people about the park and about the parks in general, about the animals and all kinds of cool stuff that you can find in them. So yeah, stuff like this. I loved it.
Nice. Then, is she back? No, I think we might have lost her. Does anybody else have a question that they want to ask to Ranger Mary, or if anybody has a question they want to ask me? I don't know. I could do my best to answer it, but go ahead, Illuminata.
What's the best thing to see at where you work, like the park, the national park?
Can you repeat your question one more time?
What's your favorite thing about like the park?
That you work at.
Fort Union.
About the park I work at now? Yeah. I love the history here. It has a really cool history. There's a lot of really famous people that came through here. A lot of really neat stuff happened. And I just love being out here. It's got a really cool like natural setting. A lot of really neat animals come through here, like the pronghorns. I see pronghorns pretty much every day. I get to see lots of really cool birds that come through. So just like being out here kind of in the middle of nowhere, it's really peaceful and relaxing.
And then we had a question in the chat, which is, where do park rangers live? And then just so you guys know that I saw you, Zoya will get your question next, and then Doom Dragon will get your question after Zoya.
Where do park rangers live? So it depends on where you're at. So right now I live like right down the street, like in the park. And usually I've lived at parks. Usually there's like houses available for people that work there. But other people kind of like live like outside the park in town, or you know, kind of like wherever they can like live and still be pretty close to the park.
And then
Rena.
Zoya. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
I thought that it was me next.
It was Zoya, and then you, Doom Dragon. If we don't get Zoya, then you can go, and then after you will be Reina, and then Liliana. So go ahead, Doom Dragon, because Zoya asked her question in the chat, which is, what is a suffrage cat? And I'm actually going to go ahead and share with y'all.
So, was that one with the, I can't read. I'm a thing with, you take a picture then edit it?
Yep.
Thought so.
I was like, I drew on my, I found, so this was just a piece of clip art that I paid for. And then I took it and I made it as big as I could get it on the paper. And then I just added suffrage cat.
You know, no, I can't read. I'm a caribou. That. I'm a pronghorn.
Oh, she's talking about the little meme that you made with the pronghorns.
Oh, you want to see that
Which is
again?
hilarious.
Okay.
I asked if it was edited.
Yeah, she wants to know if you edited it.
Yeah, I did.
Very cool. And then I said, Reina, you can go, and then Liliana. And I'll put into the chat the information about the suffrage cat, which is also in the activity guide that we sent to y'all.
How did you get, I know that you've gone to different state parks, national parks. How did you end up in all of those different parks?
So it's kind of a long story, but my first park ever was Yosemite, and I did an internship there. So it's sort of like training. I graduated from college, and then I decided that I wanted to be a park ranger, and then I looked at different like programs, and they had one at Yosemite that I applied for, and I got it, and it was really, really cool. I learned a lot of things. And so yeah, it was kind of like an internship thing, and then because of that, I got experience, and I got hired on at a couple other parks as well.
Nice. And then Liliana, go ahead.
How long have you been a national park ranger?
So my first, Yosemite was my first job at National Park, and that was 4 years ago. So about 4 years.
That's a lot of moving in just 4 years.
That's kind of what happens when you're a park ranger. You have to move around a lot. If you like moving around a lot, it's a really fun job.
Very cool. All right, so I didn't get a chance to actually color, but I did get a chance to put a face on my cat. So my cat has a face. So if we can, everybody who's working on their cat, if you would like to show us what your cat looks like. Oh, a mustache. Look at that cat. Very nice. Oh, upside down. There we go. Striped sweater. Love it. Love it. Got a calico cat. Got a couple calico cats. Very pretty. These are very artistic. Very nice. Creative. Cherie. All right. So if nobody has any more questions, we can go ahead and give you the closing question. And you guys can keep asking if you want to. Oh, we've already got our cutout done at the bottom. Very nice. Awesome. And so I'm going to go ahead and type the closing question into the chat, and we do need you to answer the question in the chat, just because that way we have a record of it. But we want to know what national park or national, trying to type at the same time. What was that, Charlotte?
Oh, was that?
Okay. She's like, I didn't mean to do that. So what national park or national monument or national seashore or national wildlife preserve will you take your cat to? And this is actually my second one, so now I have 2 cats who can be friends. The other one got this far and then got a green sash, and that was it. Ooh, we've got somebody who's coming to Fort Union. Bandelier, Fire Island Park.
You should definitely come.
And then I do have a question for you while they're typing in their answers. And my question is, if they want to get involved or give back, either at Fort Union or at another National Park Service place, how can they go about doing that, and who should they contact?
So for Fort Union, just contact me, and I can, go to like the right person. But I do a lot of that stuff. And just for any park, just like, I guess just call them, like call their number and then like ask like who would be best to get in touch with, because it really depends on the park, like who does it. And a lot of the parks like love service projects, like picking up trash, like building trails, it's like cleaning up like around the park. I'm sure like any park that you ask will find something that they need to get done. So it's always good to check.
And then we did have another question in the chat from Camden, which is there a national park that all park rangers want to work at, and why, if there is one?
So it really depends on the person. Like there's Yosemite, there's like Yellowstone, and somebody asked like which park that I haven't been to that I want to go to, and the answer is Yellowstone, because I have never been there. It looks really cool. And I guess it's one of those parks that like would be really cool to work at. So a lot of people want to work at like the really big parks, but for other people, like that's not really their style. They like working at smaller parks or like places that like a lot of like people don't really go because they don't like a lot of crowds. So it really does depend on the person as to what kind of park they want to work at. But the good thing about the National Park Service is that there's a whole lot of parks like around the country. So you can kind of like choose which one fits your, style and personality the best.
And check and see. And then I have another question, sorry. Which is, if somebody wants to become a park ranger, whether they go to college or not, what are some things that they can start doing now to help them down that career path?
So just start learning like as much as you can about like nature and like the outdoors. I would say like, if you like to go outside, just get outside and do whatever you like to do, like hiking or camping or whatever. Just kind of like, get out there in nature and enjoy it and appreciate it, and then tell all your friends about it. That's like kind of what we do as park rangers, like, right? We like nature so much that we want to share it with everybody. So that's kind of like what you can do, to kind of get into that groove, groove of being a park ranger. And then, just like study like up in school, like whatever you're interested in, pursue that with the Park Service as well as many other career paths. It takes a lot of knowledge about many different things. So anything you're interested in, just kind of pursue that. And whether it's like art, whether it's like music, whether it's like history, science, like anything that you're interested in, there's like a path for you, whether it's in the Park Service or elsewhere. Like I love doing art as well as history. So I can use my art in my job as well. So you never know what's going to come in handy in your future job.
Awesome. That's super cool. And in that case, I want to say thank you, Mary, for helping us put on this program. I love learning about Fort Union. Did everybody else love learning about Fort Union and the 19th Amendment? We can give it 1 thumbs up. We can give 2 thumbs up. We can give it a thumbs up dance. Very nice. Oh, we've got some hearts going on there. Very cool. So thank you so much for being here and teaching everybody. And thank you, girls, and everybody who is here in the screens from across New Mexico and across the United States for being here and learning with us. I hope you had fun. That's ignore that noise in the background. And I hope to see you again at a future Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trails event. And then also don't forget that while we love our national parks and we love our partnership with them, we also have partnerships with state parks across the United States. And so we will have a state parks event coming up September 12th and 13th. So make sure to check out and to be aware of that. And then also make sure to contact your local national parks and national monuments and see if you can get involved with them and see if there's some socially distanced, if your state is still doing socially distanced because of the coronavirus, if there's some projects you can come and help them with, some take action projects or just some community service. We want to do everything that we can to help out our park service partners. And just, in general, thank you for being here on the different times across the United States. I know we've got people who started at 4 p.m., some people who started after dinner. And we'll be sending a follow-up email to your parents with some more information about the patch and the parks and what you guys will be getting. And then that'll be the email address that you will send back your pictures to when you take your cat to your park. I finally got her little green sash on. And if you guys would like to, you are welcome to, as we do our closeouts, because we are going to have everybody leave the meeting. You guys can unmute and you can say thank you and you can say goodbye to Mary and to everybody else who is here.
Are you open right now?
Mary, are you guys open right now?
Thank you.
Yes, open every day from 8 to 5 right now.
Thank
Next
you.
week we go to 8 to 4 though.
Awesome. All right. And then that is it. That is the conclusion of our program.
Open on Labor Day?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Ladies. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Is Bye.
What did you say, Dozy? Did you have a question or were you just saying goodbye? Okay. Bye, Sheree. Bye, Horshan.
Charlie,
Yes, ma'am.
I went to the Rio on the weekend.
Ooh, did you get in the water?
Yes.
Nice. Did you wear sunscreen? She's like, I don't know. Well, good. I'm glad you went.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
It was good to see you. Goodbye, Liliana.
Bye.
Excellent. All right. Oh, we just said goodbye to everybody, but did you guys get kicked out? Did you guys accidentally get kicked out? We just said goodbye to everybody. Uh-oh, I don't know if she can see me.
Hi, was it?
Hi, sorry, we just said goodbye.
I thought it was at 5. Is it?
It is now 6 p.m. our time. That's okay. It's all recorded. It's all recorded, so you guys will still be able to watch it. And the one for Pecos is already up, but we'll get this one up soon.
Okay, sorry. Do I need to do anything to make sure we get the patches after we watch it, or?
No. So what we do is, so what we'll have you do is you're gonna have, and you'll see the instructions when you watch the video. When you get your cat, mine only has one ear right now, is you color it, and then you're gonna take it to a national park, monument, wildlife preserve, seashore, whatever, near where you live, and then you're gonna take a picture and send it to us.
Fabulous. Okay, we will follow the instructions. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Have a good
All right.
evening.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, how did it go?
That was really good.